Yo, what's going on, party people? It's the kid, the one and only L Wavy Baby himself, tapping in one time for the one time from Wavo World. You dig what I'm saying? As always, gotta thank y'all for tapping in. Of course, from day one to today to many more days ahead. As always, right? So, where we at today? We just chilling. Flow. And whatever comes out, comes out. And not necessarily an honesty hour, but not forcing anything. And that's kind of been the theme. That's been the theme of like life for me lately. Just learning how to let go. Like, let things be exactly what they are, because those things are gonna be whatever they are anyway, regardless of what I do and who I am. And deeper than that, once I speak something and declare something, to the universe and spirit, not even just in the sense of manifestation, but just in general, just in being, right? Allow it to be, Ain't no sense in trying to go force it into anything else, or go digging any deeper, or trying to just push any harder than what it already is, And I'm learning that. I'm truly learning that. Excuse me. A lot of things that not just that we ask for, but wish to really see, or deeper than just becoming it. Sometimes you have to allow it to come, and then you have to be so tuned in to know, like, it may come in a way you didn't expect. It might require you to do something you didn't think would at any point be necessary of you, just breaking the norm, but really flowing in that, like getting up and go, getting up and just going and moving when felt to move, just things like that. But really having a trust, like, in self, and in what's leading you. Because if you don't trust you don't trust what's leading you, and you have to. So many times we get caught up in, oh, well, I tried this before, I tried that before, I tried such and such, or just tried something and it didn't necessarily go the way you wanted. So there's this not just fear, but stigma that it'll always end up the same way. And you have to break that mold, and just find a way to always not just push forward, but allow yourself, like, just taking that pressure off. Like, I say we, but I'll speak for me. There's so much pressure I feel I put on myself to do a lot of different things, and granted, that's necessary of anyone to have a certain diligence, a certain discipline, a certain, real go get it about them to be successful in any facet, and grateful that I have that. However, I feel like I could take it overboard sometimes. And it almost places like this invisible yet impossible bar to reach. And I know I'm not the only person like that. And it makes things overwhelming. I have to understand that, and not even that I'm a person who scrolls through social media so much to have a certain depression about things or ideology, as far as, oh, I'm losing, or I haven't gotten here, or gotten to a certain spot by a certain time. If anything, I'm the most congratulatory person. It makes me happy to see other people winning. So like, if anything, that inspires me. But I know that in the generation that we live in, you know, I had a sixth grade teacher who used to say, y'all are the popcorn generation. Y'all want everything now, fast, quick, in a hurry. And if it don't happen that way, you have an attitude about it. And it's funny just thinking about the fact that she was right. You know, not just our generation, but the generation, you know, after me too. Good grief. They have it bad, and it's not necessarily just their fault. You know, it started with us, and then the technology doesn't make it any better. But obviously, this isn't the type of conversation. But even still, the technology doesn't make it any better because we have everything literally in the blink of an eye. So when we think about life, we tend to think that it needs to happen that way too, you know, and it's just, it's not plausible. It's just definitely not plausible. It doesn't make any sense to think that anything in life worth having will come that easy and simple, you know. But we're wired that way now, you know, and it's only progressively becoming more prevalent of a thought process amongst us, you know. And sometimes you just got to put the phone down, man, and allow yourself to know like what's real and what isn't, you know, and then reset to know like what you then can do based on what's real. And I say what's real, but what's tangible to you. You know what I mean? A lot of times, not even a lot of times, let me pause to say this. A lot of things can be broken down into way simpler terms than what we think them on in particular situations or time frames when we make them so complex of problems. And I know that's that's crazy to say. That's crazy to say as people are going through some of the most behooving of things in the world. Granted, I'm not giving a blind eye to that, you know. I'm not discrediting that at all, you know. However, some things we overcomplicate, and then we create problems on top of a problem that we were given to teach us something, you know. And I'm a firm believer, especially now, in no pain, no gain. You know, there are a lot of stuff that I didn't rather enjoy in life. I learned some of my most valuable of lessons for real. And had I not gone through a lot of them, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. On top of, I wouldn't have the understanding that I do, the overstanding, the understanding of a lot of different things and walks of life too. You know, if I hadn't just really embraced all those different things that life has taught me up to this point. Now, with that being said, everything isn't be just taken on the chin as far as getting knocked down, you know. If you ever get knocked down, please do not stay down, you know. And I laugh when I say that because and excuse me for lack of a better analogy, but I feel like some people get caught in, let me just explain this. So Wavo World, the merch, my hoodies to be exact, on the back of it, it says, "You are the God of your fate," right? And just to explain that piece of it first before I get into the rest, so many people will live their lives by giving control into any and everything else outside of themselves, so far as to say, there's opportunities that could have been seized for a person that would have still stood within their moral principles, you know, that people don't and won't take for sake of just whoever they are. And they will say something amongst the nature of, if God wanted me to have such and such, I would have, I would be, I would do. Fair enough, true enough, and to a degree. However, to that same person that would say that, yet they know true in their heart, there's things that they desire out of necessity, out of, not even out of greed, but out of luxury for sake of comfortability, won't make certain decisions in life or allow themselves to be open to certain things to allow those things to flow into, right? And again, I wish I had another analogy, but I'm always speaking from a place that I know dearly to me, So again, that's where I started. That's where I always speak from, and humble beginnings for me, So it's just kind of what it is, And then the next portion of the quote says, "You are the master of your own universe," which really alludes to basically the same saying as before, as before it on the back of the hoodie. And it's just saying that you control your own universe, your world, with the decisions you make, with the paths that you choose, with the journey you choose to walk on. Like those things mold you. There's innate abilities and gifts and talents that we all come here with and are actually ordered to use, in order to complete whatever it is we were sent here to do, right? However, while we're here, we are given free will to use those gifts, talents, and, powers however we see fit, whether we never discover them, whether we discover them and decide to use them for negative gain or ill will or greed, those type of goals, or whether we choose to use them genuinely in nature, and that's what that means too, not just to me, but in clear saying, and just because I'm not looking at it, I have to say it in my head is, you are the God of your fate, master of your own universe, creator of reality. And again, it just kind of sums it all up. Even if you just read the bottom portion, you are a creator of reality. As a man thinketh, so is he. Think of it long enough, at some point it will manifest, and it's really just that simple. I'm not trying to be overboard with anything that I move with or in, simply because it should be simple. It should have been simple from the beginning. And if I'm quite honest, I had a lot of things written on this board, like a lot of different things, to a point where the reason why I wrote flow is just so I could have a broad range today. A large reason why things aren't so simple and clear cut in truth is because it wasn't meant for a lot of us to figure out the actual truth in what each individual spiritual teaching or spiritual background is trying to teach us. And the premise was to keep us so divided so that we never get the real lesson. From what I see and from what I hear and from what I'm discovering, but largely from what I see, like directly in my face, the world's end The world's ultimate crash seems to be a war on religion, and it's kind of blatantly happening, and for sake of just not even being able to think of better analogies off the top of my head, but Hitler killed Jews, right? Not just because of what they look like, but I would presumably and assumably, but you know what to say about assuming, right? If you don't, makes it out of you and me. So again, I always fact check me. I move like this for me, never for just anyone else or any groups of people, but I've also done my own research enough to know what I'm speaking on is real and true, right? But anywho, not just because they had blonde hair, blue eyes, but because of the belief within those people, right? So then you have the early Christians who were I wouldn't say crucified. That would be a horrible comparison and disrespect to those people who still firmly believe and are rooted in that religion, and I won't do that, right? But those people were ostracized and murdered in some, like the early, I think, 1700s, the Crusades, stuff like that. What other groups? You had early groups, not just Pan-African, but early tribes that were discovered that were of African nature that they deemed as just pure witchcraft, and they were then ostracized. They were killed as well. Just things, when I sit back and really think about, again, I always allude back to the Bible, but John 10, I think 31 through 36, and it's when they were describing why Jesus was basically being crucified, and why the people thought him to be a false prophet above all, right? They were trying to describe that, and they were saying that because he came and did all of these different works and things and wonders as miracles and so on and so forth, and that because he came and did those things, that he claimed to be God, right? Which to them was blasphemous. But it's in his immediate response, he says, is it not written in your law that ye too are gods? Which really meant that you two have the same power as I, God's son. And for me, that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes not to just the magnitude of whom he was, but whom I am per what he told me. And I feel like it's, again, most people will say I have a false or wrong perception or interpretation of, but it's alluded to just that in so many other places within, to a point where how could I keep missing it and looking over it? So again, I always talk back to in time, like when I began to look at it deeper and look at it differently. But yeah, it's just like at that point, how can I unsee it? And at that point too, I started being able to see it in all things, so I don't know, it's just the true omnipotence of, which allows me to be free with my spirit, which allows me to then really hear when being told certain things, how to move and how to adjust, in the sense of when I'm asking certain things unto the all about what I should do, when I'm meditating and asking how to move, how should I how to align myself justly and uprightly about things, right? It allows me to really be able to see again and hear, and then again walk in ordinance of things, right? In a way where most people wouldn't even think possible, or even think to even look in these crevices and spots to see not just those silver linings, but pick up these messages and downloads. It go back to what I was saying about being a light or becoming of. There's no way to really shine your light other than to go and walk through darkness. And it's even, I don't even want to get in it, like what I just thought off the top of my head. Maybe I should say it then. Out of darkness comes light. Think about that. Out of darkness comes light. And I'll let you ponder on that for yourself, because I think I paused just long enough for you to do it. Jokes, but seriously, So, and even with that being said, for those who will try to use that against me, I haven't hidden anything that I have done, that I'm interested in, that I don't talk around it. None of that. I have no reason to do that, and a lot of us get a bad rap for whatever, for being so steadfast, not in just belief, but in knowingness, and then operation under that knowingness. At the end of the day, there's never any judgment passed, especially from me. It's just, we're coming to a time where the clear cut left or right, like there's no being lukewarm, either hot or cold. And I get that. I overstand that. And I prefer it that way, honestly, because I know where I stand. It's a lot of people who don't know where they stand. And it's a lot of people, because they don't know where they're where they're standing, they're looking to shake the ground of a lot of others. And you got to be careful amongst those people. When you feel it within yourself that certain things don't align and don't feed and pour into you as it should. And we don't mean that for means of gain. We mean that for means of, if anything, spiritual awareness and prowess. If anything is affecting you to in that level, then you might need to reevaluate, right? And I'm a person who, I'm so devout in my walk, right? To a point where it doesn't matter where it takes me, and doesn't matter how it takes me there, I will allow it to do what it needs to do, to get the most benefit out of me here on this earth. I can't be so spiritually high that I'm no earthly good. And I feel like that was necessary of me to say, with really this transition that's happening to me. There's a lot of things that in my younger years, in my younger brain, should I say, of knowledge, because in older years and becoming more knowledgeable and experienced up with this knowledge, right, I've not only learned how to maneuver, but I've learned things that I once would have never had the courage to walk on by faith, right? And I feel like that's the realest thing that I can say ever. I feel like I can't move without saying that, because I would be fake. but it's above everything. That's that for me, you know. But excuse me, because my train of thought just got warped. I felt the warp so heavy. I don't know what it was. I almost felt like an attack. Ooh, they hit very hard. But okay, I caught my thought again. But never being so spiritually high that I'm no earthly good, and that, in my younger years, there's things that I would have never imagined once moving upon that I do now, or even thinking like that I do now, for sake of fear, for sake of pure fear, for sake of being told if I thought any other way or moved any other way, not that I was going to hell, but that, I would be ostracized for it. That people would look at me like I was weird, and then people wouldn't accept me, and then people wouldn't. But man, at the end of the day, none of that matters. None of that ever mattered. Like ever, none of it ever mattered. It was all about coming here to do what was necessary of me, no matter what nobody else thought. There's gonna be those people. Because, and I say it like this because as a human, or as God's having a human experience, and I say it like that's because that's me, and I'll fully wear that. I wear that not even that cloth. I wear that skin every day now, and it feels lovely. I promise you it does, right? But as a God having a human experience, or for those who are just humans being humans and having human experience, we always want that, that companionship to some degree, so it's nothing wrong with seeking that to a degree. However, it's like, not even however, you along your own journey, if you're moving in whatever path that you're supposed to be moving into, those people will find you, and you will find those people, no matter how few and far, or no matter how many come in abundance, but they're there. They will be there. It's just you have to learn how to travel this road on your own. It's about you at the end of the day. It's never about all these other things outside of you. Those things may make the experience here better, and also that's the only way you can really learn certain lessons, which is externally. But you also can't interact with any of those things if you aren't put together a certain type of way. If you can't walk, with your own two legs and look with your own two eyes, that type of thing. Like, it's really that real, But I don't know, man. Above everything, we here. I'm here, alive, well, and vibrant, And I really do have to say, peace to my ancestors, the gods and goddesses before me, within me, and above me, as well as the ascended masters. Thank you, and Ashe, Namaste. I have to really say that for self, because I don't know where I will be. I really don't know where I would be mentally, much less physically in the flesh. And then spiritually, had it not been for me becoming conscious, so that I could have the mental capacity, much less the mental acuity, to live life just in its current state. It's so much going on outside, on top of there's so much that's going on within my personal life that I really could be insane if I allowed myself to be, so when I tell you I'm over grateful for just coming into this wisdom, I forever have love for the spirit, for the all, for for just bestowing this upon me, you know. And I don't plan on keeping y'all long today. I'm probably about to wrap it up here with saying that. But if I couldn't encourage anything else or anybody to do anything else, I will say this. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, like true to your heart, whatever moves you in this world, whatever you get up and think about, and not even just think about, but not even just in your heart, whatever it is that you can't see yourself without having tried to do or move upon or live by, I encourage you to move on it, to pick it up, to live by it, to do it. Because that's the only thing in this world that's going to mean something to you when this world is said, done, and gone. Trust me. And you don't want to live with that regret of not having gotten up and moved and done it. Whatever it is for you, trust me. And I say it like that because, and this conversation may seem a little everywhere, but to bring it completely full circle, you know, as a musician who truly loves his craft, had it not been for me truly in love with my craft, I wouldn't have dove as deep as I did into it to find myself, to then become conscious. And I think that's a story that's coming revealing to those who are paying attention. But I'm just all too grateful for it. You know, I've always been a spiritual person in nature, which has been my biggest passion, to always make sure that I'm doing whatever it is that I came down to do, that the Spirit sent me here to do. You know, whatever I was for, I just always wanted to fulfill it. And me doing whatever this is in every way, shape, and form and facet at this point, I know I'm doing that, right? And I could only hope that by me doing it, that others could get that same notion that they can too, and that they should, but above that they can, you know. But again, above everything, y'all stay up, y'all stay safe, y'all stay prosperous, you dig? Love.